Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen I want to show you how to make glazed donuts. Just like a traditional American donut that so many people have been requesting here for years, and I'm thrilled to be able to bring them to you today. Before we get started, let's go over the ingredients. You'll need some all-purpose flour and a pinch of salt, some whole milk that's been warmed to about 115 degrees. You're going to need some eggs, melted shortening, vegetable shortening, unsalted butter that's been melted, sugar, yeast. Those are the ingredients you're going to need to make the actual donuts, and you'll just need a few additional ingredients to make the glaze in just a little bit. So let's get going. The first thing we're going to do is activate our yeast, which is super important. I'm going to take my warm milk, sprinkle in a little bit of sugar because the yeast needs to feed off something, and then I'm going to sprinkle my yeast right over the top. Now I'm going to probably get a lot of questions about whether or not you can skip the yeast, and the answer is absolutely not. Yeast is a crucial ingredient in this recipe and a lot of bread recipes, cinnamon rolls, and things like that. If the recipe calls for yeast, it usually means you can't substitute it. So in the mixer bowl that I've got here, this is just a bowl to my standing mixer. I'm going to take my eggs along with my vegetable shortening and my butter, and the vegetable shortening is a pretty crucial ingredient as well for the texture. And then we're going to take some sugar, and I'm just going to whisk this together with my little hand mixer here just until it comes together, and that just takes about a minute or two. I've got a bowl here that I've just greased with a little bit of vegetable oil. That's ready. This looks good. I'm just going to wait for the yeast to proof for just a few more minutes. It'll take about 3 to 5 minutes, and I'm going to clean up, and then I'll show you the second step. My egg mixture looks great, and my yeast mixture is perfect. You can see it's gotten all foamy at the top, which is exactly what you're looking for when you're activating yeast. If it doesn't get foamy, and if you don't start to kind of smell it, which doesn't smell pleasant, even though I do love it, then it's not proofed, and that's not good. So, get it all off my spatula. I'm just going to mix this in, just very briefly. I'm going to take some of my flour, mix in the salt really quickly, just a little bit, just to kind of give it a heads up. And then we're going to pop this into the standing mixture. Just give it a quick little heads up, and then you can add in the rest. All right, now the mixer is going to do all the work. On about medium-low speed, I always want to say medium-low heat. On medium-low speed, I'm going to let this go for a good about 5 minutes or so. You want this to be a nice smooth dough, but you don't want it to go too long, otherwise it's going to get tough, and you want the donut to be real crispy and lovely on the outside, and you want it to be really lovely and light on the inside. So let this go for about 5 to 6 minutes, or until you get a nice round smooth ball of dough, and then we're going to get this to rise. That looks great. It's really nice and smooth. Get it all off the dough hook, as much as you can manage anyway. All right, now I've got a lightly floured surface here. I'm just going to put my dough directly on top of the surface because I just want to pull this together really quickly with my hands, just, you know, into a ball so I can get to rising. It's a little sticky, but don't worry. That's why you have the flour underneath to help you out. All right, just pull it together, just knead it enough so that it's no longer super sticky. See how quick that came together? All right, now, extra dough there, extra flour I should say. Pull this together, put it into an oiled bowl. I got a little leftover oil on my brush. I don't want this to be too oily, but you do want to make sure that you oil the top as well. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up with some plastic wrap, and this has to go somewhere to rise, somewhere warm. I've mentioned it a million times that for me, it's my microwave. Obviously, with that microwave turned on, I'm gonna leave it in there for a couple of hours or until it's really doubled in size, and I'll show you what it looks like once it's there so that we can move on to the next step. My dough has been rising for a few hours, and it's beautifully risen, about double in size. You can get rid of that. So I've got a baking tray with some parchment paper, sprinkled a little bit of flour on top of that. That's going to be when we actually add our donuts, place our donuts on there, they don't stick. So I am not a professional. I don't have a donut cutter thingy, so this is what I use. I use my biscuit cutter, about 3.5 inches, and a smaller one to make a little donut hole out of. Call it what you want. You can call it unprofessional, you can call it whatever. Works for me. They look like donuts, they taste like donuts, so I'm not gonna go buy a specific thing just to make donuts because it just works as well. So I'm going to take my flour, a good amount of flour on your board, evenly sprinkle it. I'm gonna kind of punch down my dough. Oh, it's so beautiful. Take that out, put a little bit more flour on the top. This looks incredible, doesn't it? It's just so soft, and you just know whatever you're gonna make out of this dough is gonna taste good. I'm just gonna roll this out till it's about 1/2 inch thick. You can always just press it with your hands just to make it the right thickness. Now I'm gonna take my biscuit cutter, donut cutter, cookie cutter, whatever. I'm gonna dip it in here, my flour. Dip it into my dough. Then you take this little baby one, you dip it in the middle, and you've got donut holes. I'm just gonna take that, take out your donut hole, put that right next to it. They're not gonna be super big because I don't have the right cutter, but what difference does it make? Put them next to each other a few inches apart because these are going to rise again. I'm just gonna carry on and putting them on our baking sheet. I've got my donut shapes ready on these baking sheets. Now these are gonna rise once more. They have to be covered with like a lid-free towel and let them rise for about an hour or so, or until they're doubled in volume again. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna make all of them because, to be honest, tonight is just my husband and I wanted to just share this recipe with you. But I have friends coming over tomorrow night, so I'm gonna take the remaining dough, pop it in the fridge, and then tomorrow roll out some fresh donuts and fry them up so that they're really lovely and fresh, so that when they get here, it's like the perfect little treat. I'm going to cover these up, let them rise for about an hour until they're doubled in volume, and in the meantime, I'm going to get some oil up to temperature and we'll fry them up as soon as they're ready. Look at that. They've doubled in size beautifully. I've also got some vegetable oil up to temperature here in a large pot. The written recipe will be on laureandthekitchen.com, of course. Now that's up to temperature. My donuts have risen beautifully. I like to take like a spatula or a device like that to drop them in, and they're gonna cook for literally about 30 seconds on each side until they're a beautiful golden brown color. You want to make sure you don't overcrowd the pan though, otherwise it's gonna drop the temperature of the oil, and they're not gonna be able, they're going to absorb a lot of the oil, and they're not going to get crispy. Now while those are going, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a baking sheet and put some paper towels on it to catch all of the excess oil, and then we're going to make the glaze. Last one out. Oh, they look fantastic. Look at that. Look at those beauties. I know they don't look perfect, but they're not supposed to. This is homemade, this is from the heart, this is out of your kitchen. This is what's special. Now while those are sitting and just cooling off a bit, I've got some confectioner's sugar here in a really large bowl, and to that I'm going to add in a splash of vanilla extract, and then we're going to add in some water. That's it, and you want to just add a few tablespoons at a time, and then just kind of mix it in with your spoon. You want to get like a runny consistency, but you don't want it to get too runny so that it doesn't stick on the actual donut. So just work it in and then add in a little bit extra water as you need it. Looks fantastic. That's the kind of consistency you're looking for. Take that out. Now take each one, dunk it, flip it. Oh yes. And put it right on there like so. And then just continue with the next one. I dipped all of my donuts in my glaze. Now if you want to, you can make a little extra glaze and double dip them. That way they have a really thick crust of that sugariness. But to me, they're perfect as is. I don't want too much sweetness. I've had my eye on this puppy like the entire time I was dipping it. So I know I'm going to try this one. Yeah. Come close. In my opinion, it's as good as it gets when it comes to a traditional glazed donut. What a treat. They're a treat to make. They're a treat to give to someone. I love the homemade look to them. I love being able to say, I made you a box of donuts. How you like that? I hope you enjoyed spending time with me. Head over to laurainthekitchen.com to get the recipe. Request any donut recipes you want to see next right down below. I love to hear from you. I'll see you soon. Bye.